Hey everybody, welcome back to Breakfast with Bob from the Challenge Championship and Collins Cup. We're brought to you by Master Spa's Hyperice Form Smart Swim Goggles, UCAN, HOKA, One, Clash USA, and of course the Challenge Athletes Foundation. Our next guest, silver medalist from the Olympics in Tokyo, Taylor Knibb joins us. How you doing?
Well, thanks for having me.
It was so much fun watching that mixed relay. You were just saying that the viewership numbers were off the hook, right, for people watching that mixed relay?
Well, I don't know the statistics, but I know from people who reached out to me that a lot of people saw it. A lot of people not understood it, but saw something different from triathlon that was fun and exciting. And I hope it's great for the sport, but we'll see.
Anytime you go from one event in the Olympics to two, that's a positive, right? You get another showcase, and people got to see that a 1 mile, a 300-yard swim, followed by a 4.4-mile bike ride, followed by a 1 mile run, is a triathlon. You don't have to go out there for 12 or 15 hours to be a triathlete. And you've been doing this sport for a while, and going to the Olympics, and if you qualified at Yokohama, it was the last chance to make the team, and I doubt if you would have been selected. There's no way. There's no way. So you knew going into Yokohama, I've got to win or be what, top?
It was top 3, but top American. So
Yes.
when I saw Summer leading the charge from the chase pack, I'm like, well, she already has her spot, so she can pass me.
Right.
Not that I don't want her to pass me,
Right.
but if worst came to worst, if she passed me and I was second or third, I'd still be on the team. Actually, that's what I was thinking when I came off the bike with my Kingma, and I'm like, well, she can outrun me. I just need to stay on the podium.
Right. And you ended up doing it all. Did you surprise yourself?
Yes. Apparently, people who know me well weren't surprised though.
Yes.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
what do you know that I didn't know?
Yes.
But it was just fun to execute a good swim, bike, and run. And I haven't always been able to do that in the past few years. So I've left a lot of races like, oof, I don't feel like I executed on the day. And so that's more what I care about than the result. It's a bonus when the result's better, but.
Yeah. And you're how old now?
23.
23 years old. So having that first Olympic experience, just obviously it's not the Olympic experience we normally have with fans and a whole bit. Now it seemed like there were some fans out on the triathlon course a little bit. In terms of that course being with 18 turns per lap, and it wasn't really set up for a cyclist like yourself.
Yeah, but it was great to just have the event in the first place and be able to be there. And actually, I think, so in Rio, the only person who I really got to hear about the difference between Rio and Tokyo was from Katie.
Yes.
And she was talking about how, because the venue in Rio was 2 hours away, we stayed in the village from the day we got there until the day we left. And so we got more of an experience in that way. And because there was no family or friends there, I feel like we spent more time together as a team. So I really got to know my teammates from the US better. And I think that that's an experience that came out of it as a positive that I wouldn't have gotten if our families had been there.
Right. And I'm sure you weren't happy with 16th or whatever.
No, I was not.
Not very happy at all. But I remember in Rio, Katie wasn't very happy with hers first experience. In that race, was it just hard to bridge and hard to get up on the bike? Because you're such a great cyclist. Yeah,
I had a poor swim, and then my bike wasn't great either. And then I was actually able to run better than I was expecting. But at that point, it's just the lead group was 3+ minutes up the road. And it's a different race, but I'm grateful for the experience. And I had actually said to someone after I qualified, they're like, what would you be happy with? And my aim is long-term. And so whatever sets me up best. And I heard a lot going into the Olympics, oh, it's just another triathlon and all this stuff. And yes, it's another triathlon. But the only 2 hours of the 2 weeks I was there that were remotely familiar were the race hours. And so just learning what an Olympics entails. And so I'm grateful for the experience. And I hope I get to use the knowledge that I've gained in the future.
Well, I know when Katie came out of that 2016 games, that was the impetus for what we saw this year. She came away from there going, okay, now I know. Right now I know that in that particular case, they had that horrific downhill, right? That big uphill and the downhill scared the crap out of her. And so she had to learn how to use the bike as a weapon and not be scared on a downhill. And for you, what's nice is by having that mixed relay, just a week or so later, you were able to show how you can race.
Yes, even there I wasn't psyched with my swims, so there's always room for improvement though.
Yeah, but your bike ride. Now, did you know, because they could have chosen Summer Rappaport as well. When did you find out that you were going to be racing?
We're not really allowed to say.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay. That's all right. I had to ask.
USA Triathlon wants to keep that confidential.
Okay. But you must have been excited when you were chosen.
I was, definitely.
Yeah. And when you knew you were going to get a silver medal, how fun was that?
Well, you don't know until Morgan crossed the finish line.
Right.
But it was just such a great experience, and Great Britain was out of this world incredible the whole Olympics, but especially on that day too. I mean, because it's one thing to have the capability, it's another to execute on the day.
Right.
And so hats off to them, but it was also fun to be able to, our team to be able to execute too.
So, and then coming back from the Olympics, you go to Boulder and you're leading for a big chunk of it, I think till like 10K or so of the run, and you end up getting a silver at Boulder. And was that your first 70.3?
It was.
Wow, what'd you think?
Well, it's fun. It's so different, but it's a lot of fun in a different way.
And then you hop right back into the WTS and get second in Montreal and win Edmonton, and get second in the series.
Yes.
That's a hell of a year.
Yeah, hopefully it's still going.
Right. And then you get chosen to be on the captain's pick, which is pretty cool. You and Katie, two people with the least background in terms of this longer distance, especially on the time trial bike. Now, did you go time trial bike for Boulder?
No. I rode my road bike in Boulder.
You rode a road bike. Okay. What are you going to do here?
My road bike.
Okay.
Well, actually, so it's funny because I don't own a time trial bike. So when people ask me like, oh, did you go time trial bike or road bike? I'd be like, well, that would require
a second bike.
And a purchase. So it's an easy choice for me. But also that's what I've been training on. And I don't want to, even if I could potentially gain time in the bike, I don't want to harm my run or have any issues down the road. Because I'm hoping to do Hamburg in about 3 weeks from now. So
okay, so your season's still going.
Well, hopefully. We'll see though.
Yeah.
I'll come off of this weekend and see.
Well, see, and you guys are used to sort of this team format, right? Because you guys are racing WTS races. It's a team. You're for yourself, but it's still a team. You got other people wearing red, white, and blue. So now this is fairly similar for you, right? This whole Collins Cup format.
Yeah, it's actually more like I feel like college cross country or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm fresh out of college, so that works for me too.
That is so cool. So moving forward, so you'll go do another, it's 3 years, right? So you'll do another Olympic cycle.
Well, hopefully.
Or hopefully do another Olympic cycle and mix in some 70.3s along the way, or will you focus mainly WTS?
Mainly short course racing.
Okay, and Super League or things like that. Now, are you doing Super League as well or not yet?
No, for certain athletes, they'll let you do one race, but for a lot of athletes, it's like 4 races or nothing.
Oh, that's hard.
So this week will be my 6th race in 32 days.
Wait. 6 races in 32 days.
Yeah,
oh my God.
If you count Montreal as 1 race, and it kind of was 4.
Yeah,
and so to add another, because then it starts next weekend.
Yes.
And so to add 4 more weekends, I think I'd like to be able to walk at the end of the season. And like each year has an impact on the next year. So while I would love to, I don't think it was a smart decision.
Right. So the focus will be France.
Paris in 2024?
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, good.
We'll see though. You never know, like with the American program, which Americans are coming up and how how the short course racing changes and what's even the format going to be.
Right, exactly. And they're talking, I heard something the other day, they're talking about potentially adding a 3rd triathlon to the...
Oh, well, can I say what I would love them to add? Because so I was watching the time trial cycling event.
Yes.
And I'm like, it would be super cool if you had a sprint distance time trial. So you could send athletes off. I don't know what the interval would be, but a sprint distance.
I like
and then
that.
on time trial. And you could have the same athletes, or you could have like another group. So you could pick either from the Olympic distance or the time trial for the relay. Because they could potentially like have a really good 3rd leg from the time trial event and a potentially good 1st leg from the Olympic distance. But sorry, I think
No, that's good. That is good. I was thinking they might do like one of those equalizers or one of those other things.
Well, like the Eliminator. I think that's what they wanted in Paris, but I think at the end, like it's very similar, and it's a hard event. I thought at least.
Yes.
You're just kind of like on it from the start.
Is it swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run? Is that how that works, or is it?
Well, so the Eliminator that we did was swim, bike, run, but you start every 40 minutes. So the race only took 23 to 24, and then you would just start 16 to 17 minutes later. But there are formats where it's like swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run.
Wow. But that's, that's a full-on all-gas race, and then you're doing another one 40 minutes later.
Yeah, well, yes and no, because you consider the races, and by the end, like if you looked at the run splits for the women, they weren't so different from the prelim race the day before, because I think we had the faster bike split on the last race than the men did. So
did you really?
Yeah, I think by like 25 seconds too. They were just soft pedaling because it was all 10 of them together.
And they were just like waiting for the run.
Yeah. So our race was like a strength-based race. I feel like whether there was speed. So
yes. And in Edmonton, was that a hilly bike course?
Yes, there was a hill.
Which was good because you got away.
Yes, I did. I was with 3 people, and Maya Kingmo went down to put her shoes on. Taylor went around on one side, and so I'm like, I got to go on the other side, and I went, and then I was gone somehow.
I love that. Hey, congratulations on everything you're doing, and for Team USA. For a lot of these guys, you probably haven't raced a lot of these people before, or even met them before.
No, I haven't. But actually this week, some people have come up to me and introduced themselves and are like, are you on a time trial bike or a road bike?
Yeah.
So like, nice to meet you. What bike are you riding?
Yeah. I think you will probably be one of the few people on a
I think I'm the only one.
Only one riding a road bike.
But from the U.S. team, a lot of the men at least are from Boulder. So
right.
I've at least heard of them or met them. And then some of the women like Katie, I've spent the past month with.
Katie's your best bud. You guys go away. You guys do planks and pajamas together.
I haven't done that, but I've been slacking.
Very cool. Taylor, congratulations on so far an amazing season.
Thank you.
And where are you keeping your silver medal now?
It's in Colorado.
Hidden away. Okay. Yeah. I remember McKeely Jones used to move it around from different drawers and.
Oh wow, that's intense.
Yeah. It's different sock drawers and because you know that thing's pretty special. Have you been surprised, and maybe because you've been traveling so much and haven't had that many opportunities to speak to different groups, but I think the impact of an Olympic medal, and it doesn't matter if somebody's a multi-billionaire or owns some other corporation, a medal will freeze them. They're just like, most people have never touched an Olympic medal before, and it means a lot to them.
I probably haven't experienced that yet. I was only home for a week, and then it's back into quarantines and racing. So
where do you have to quarantine?
We had to quarantine in Montreal and Edmonton.
Oh, that's right.
It was like 3 days in the hotel in Montreal and then another day in Edmonton. So
that's not that bad. It's not like the 2 weeks and stuff like that.
No, and it was actually kind of, I think, for people coming off the Olympics, it was really nice to just like decompress a little.
I bet.
I almost think it was an advantage. You could ask Flora Duffy about that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because I think she had a lot more media engagements than anyone else.
She's like, I'm in quarantine for another week, just so she can stay away from people. Yeah.
No, but then you get all the interview requests.
Exactly. Well, that's getting the interview request means that you're doing something right.
Yes, I guess so.
Taylor, thank you for taking time, and good luck this weekend. Have fun.
Thank you for having me, and I hope you have fun here too.
Thanks. Taylor Knibb has been our guest, everybody. Again, Breakfast with Bob from Challenge Championship and Collins Cup. Thanks so much for tuning in. Catch you next time.